Good morning, hello and welcome to the second day of the first Vertmotiv ISMF World Cup of 23-24 here in Val Thorens in France. As you can see, it is a markedly different day than it was yesterday. What a glorious morning, a cold one, but the sun is shining and the people skiing and ski mountaineering in Val Thorens will be taking beautiful advantage of the new snow that fell yesterday. What an exciting sprint day we had yesterday. Some big upsets and some cracking wins. Caroline Ulrich taking her first win yesterday for the women, and Oriol Cardona-Cole securing his position as the #1 world champion. You can see it's sunny, as I say, but chilly, -13, and but thankfully not much wind, as it was all the things yesterday: windy, snowy, cold. But today, beautiful, crisp, and ready to go. We are, of course, here for the mixed relay. This is one of the events going to the Olympics in Milan Cortina in 2026, so the interest in the relay race is huge, and as it well should be. It's a great format, it's a great race, and I'm really excited to share this morning with you. As you can see, that is a great overview of the course there. We have 153 meters of vertical up over 2 ups and 2 downs today. In case you're not familiar with the mixed relay, it is 1 man and 1 woman from the same country competing in the same team. Most usually the woman goes first, and she does the first ascent down the first descent. Then on the second ascent, there is, as you can see there, marked by the letter B, that is the foot part, always obligatory in the second ascent of the mixed relay. And then the last transition to skis, and they come down and ski in. And then there is a handover from woman to man, man to woman, and then back to the man, and then the male competitor finishes the race on a slightly different track, as you can see there, into the finish line. And it's all very exciting. We haven't actually had that many of the mixed relays in the last couple of years since the format was designed. So it's always still quite exciting to see how it is played out, and how the tactics. I think a lot of the countries are still working out not maybe necessarily their tactics and strategy, because I think they are quite clear on that, but just there's a lot of mixing up of the teams and sort of making sure, trying to find out who are the best combinations together. Of course, the 2 top best teams have not moved in terms of their the combined forces of their players. The current world and European champions are Emily Harrop and Thibaut Anselmet of France, and the current silver medalists from those 2 competitions are from Italy, Giulia Morada and Niccolò Canclini. So they are 2 very set and steady teams. Interestingly, I've been looking at my start list this morning, and a lot of sort of changing around just to try and see who is who. Who's racing with who. And interesting to note, because there are fewer women, they have a bit more experience. Before we get into that, let's have a little look at a video. Fantastic views there of Val Thorens yesterday when we saw that video. It made us pine for how beautiful it really is because we couldn't see anything. But today, as you can see on your screen, it is a glorious, glorious day. Just a quick note there that Olivier Manciot is the race director, very, very experienced set of hands, and Rogelio Matias of Spain is the president of the jury. They did a fantastic job yesterday in really, really tough conditions. So we look forward to seeing what they can do with this beautiful day. So as I was saying earlier, well, let me just talk you through the mixed relay, shall I? We've just finished qualification rounds. There were 48 athletes, I beg your pardon, in the 43 athletes in the qualifications, 43 men, 43 women, of course, and they were from 13 countries, Austria, Chile, China, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Poland, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Switzerland, and the United States. And they have all been round, and they have qualified. We are still waiting for the results of those qualifications and what will happen as the program goes on. For those of you not familiar, it will be the B final, which are the teams that either were slower or slower than their other country teams, the other teams from that country. I'm going to explain that better in a little minute. And then a bit later on, we will move on to the A final. Now, what that means is the starting position is on the finals are chosen according to the qualification time. And the best team, the final A composition with a maximum of 12 teams has a quota of 1 team per country in the World Cup. And depending on the number of teams in the qualification round, they can, and as we are doing today, produce a B final. And this will have a minimum of 6 teams, but there's a quota of 2 teams per country allowed into the B final. And for each mixed relay World Cup race, a national ranking list will be produced, and this is based on the race results, but they keep only the best team of each country. And the scores of the mixed relay World Cup is per nation and calculated from the result list. Might be a little, it's reasonably straightforward, but what it does mean is that when we started this morning with the 13 countries, there will only be obviously 12. There were sort of, as I say, 5 French teams, 3 Italian teams. So there can only be 1 French team, for example, 1 Italian team in the A final. So it means that the other teams will get put into the B final and will have to race against each other from there. We are excited to see who has made it into which final, and but until then, let me tell you a little bit about who is racing today. As I said earlier, Harrop and Anselme of France are the current world and European champions. Murada and Canclini of Italy, consistent team sitting in second in both those competitions. They also, Thibaut Anselme and Emily Harrop won in Val Thorens last year. They missed out in Val Martello to the Spanish pairing of Aurel Cardona-Cole and Ana Alonso Rodriguez, who are also an exceptionally strong pair of racers. What I was saying a little bit earlier was it is interesting when you look at the female racers as opposed to the male racers, because there are fewer women who are specialists in this area. In fact, there are just fewer in general. They have a lot more experience in this race, and so they often get mixed up with different male partners to ensure that everybody gets a chance to see what the good pairings are. But here we are, the start list for the B final is there. For France, Florian Sautel and I have to tell you which Bonnell that is. It is Lorna Bonnell, and I beg your pardon. Okay, I need to double check that because that's not what I have on my start list in front of me. Baptiste Elmenreich and Lena Bonnell. For Switzerland, Alessandra Schmidt and Ivan Arnold. Marianne Faton and Thomas Bussard. For Italy, Alba Di Silvestro and Michele Boscacci. As well as Katia Mascarona and Luca Tomazoni. For Spain, Marta Garcia Fares and Inigo Martinez. Maria Costa Diaz and Ott Ferrer, I believe, yes, Ott Ferrer, Sarah Dreyer and Armin Höffel, and Sophia Wessling and Felix Grammelsberger. That is the B final. And as well as Anna Tibor and Jakob Bachleda and Tong Ren and Reiji from China. And that will be kicking off in just under 2 minutes. So we will hopefully be starting to see the athletes come into the tent here. And what's going to happen is that they're going to bring them out pair by pair. And we will be able to see both the athletes ready to go. And then once they have been introduced by Christine Cavigny, the course commentator, the race announcer, and I have explained who is who, the male competitor will go off to the side and the female competitor will take the start line, and we will see how it goes from there. Just to confirm, as we had a little confusion, I had a little confusion over which of the Bonnels is racing with which partner. I can tell you that with Florian Sautel, it is Candice Bonnel, and with Baptiste Elmenreich is Lena Bonnel. Beautiful views here from the drone shot as we hear Christine Cavigny calling the athletes to the start. I feel like we already have a little bit of a delay, but not to worry. The fastest times this morning for the women, 11 minutes and 17 by Emily Harrop, 11 minutes and 34 seconds by Julia Murada. The fastest men were Oriol Cardona Call with 9 minutes 56 and Thibaut Anselme with 10 minutes and 3 seconds. So looking at that, it's about a 19 to 20 minute pairing times 2, so they each have to do this course twice. And so the race will last approximately 40-ish minutes. There's a new rule this year. Anybody being lapped by the leading racers is immediately taken out of the race. This is for safety reasons. It also makes it less confusing for spectators and commentators, thankfully. So we're going to be starting very soon. I can't give you an exact time right at the minute, but I'm sure as soon as I know, you'll know. When I was talking earlier about the lapping, this is most likely to happen in the B final, because if you remember, there are quotas per final. So this means that only the best, for example, the best French teams, the best Italian team, the best Spanish team made it through to the A final, which but means that there are some very strong still some very strong teams from the more experienced nations competing in the B final against some of the nations that are perhaps slightly less experienced, just starting out. And so there's a reasonable likelihood that, that some of the less experienced nations will be lapped on this course in the B final. And here we are. Now on your screens you have Lena Bonnel and Baptiste Elmenreich of France. Team number 24. On the right there you will also see Stefano Montini, technical delegate. So this is Lena going to the front, to the start line. Baptiste, you'll see very different in their outfits. Ivan Arnold and Alessandra Schmidt from Switzerland. Caroline Ulrich and, oh, I beg your pardon, that was Marianne Faton and Thomas Bussard. Alba Di Silvestro, I am not entirely sure that Michele Buscacci was with her. But there we go. Here we have Marta Garcia Fares and Inigo Martinez. As I was saying, the men are all bundled up because they've got a while to go. Team number 27, Maria Costa Diaz and Ott Ferrer Martinez. Sophia Wessling and Felix Gramselsberger, I beg your pardon. For Germany, yeah. Anna Tibor and Jakub Bachleda for Poland. And Candice Bonnel and Florian Sautel just went past us there for France. You can hear Christine Cavagnier there saying that it's 30 seconds to the start. You can see 2 lines there. And they're off. This is the start of the mixed relay race here in Val Thorens. It's the second race of the weekend. It's also the second race of the season. Marianne Faton of Switzerland just sitting in the front there with the white helmet. To her left, Sarah Dreyer of Austria. And tucked in behind Marianne Faton is Alessandra Schmidt of Switzerland, but taking the lead here, I believe, Lena Bonnel. I will need to confirm that with you. Alba Di Silvestro tucked in behind her of Italy. And this is the first round for the women. And that is Candice Bonnel out in the front there. Oh, no, that actually, I beg your pardon. Yeah, Candice Bonnel, Alba Di Silvestro, Marianne Faton, France, Italy and Switzerland. Alessandra Schmidt making a bit of a burst there for Switzerland. Lena Bonnell in behind her, Sarah Dreyer. And Katia Mascarona tucked in behind her. You can hear the crowds are out in force. They actually had a remarkable showing yesterday, despite the weather, but a lot more motivation to be out there, I should imagine, today. A beautiful, beautiful day, as we see Candice Bonnel leading the way ahead of Marianne Faton and Alba Di Silvestro, with Alessandra Schmidt, Sarah Dreyer of Austria, and Alessandra Schmidt of Switzerland, Lena Bonnell in behind them, Katia Mascarona of Italy on the rear there. And we will be getting some really great split times as we go through this race. So we should be able to see exactly like for like how everything is going. And as Candice Bonnel and Marianne Faton make a bit of a break from the rest of the women behind them, this first section on skis is 85 meters of vertical, and this is a purely on skins. This is a purely skinning exercise. They will skin to the top here, take their skins off, ski down, and on the second ascent, that is when we will see the boot pack. But for the moment, it is purely skinning, 85 meters of vertical. And if you, in terms of how the race is set out, if you are looking at the course, they have set off over to the right, and they will come round down on the left-hand side of the course, and then they do a loop up through the middle, and then over back to the changeover zone. And here we are, we're out of transition. And a clear gap there with Candice Bonnel and Marianne Faton. In fact, Marianne Faton has taken the lead and come out there with a good gap ahead of Candice Bonnel. And they come down, and this is part of the sprint course from yesterday. You may recognize it as they come down the side of the buildings here in the resort of Thorens. And then there they are into the transition for the second ascent, the second uphill. Which will be 33 meters of vertical on skins, 15 meters of vertical on foot, and then another 20 meters of vertical back on their skins before skiing back down and handing over to their partners for the first time in this race. Alessandra Schmidt ahead there of Lena Bonnel and Marianne Faton. Alessandra Schmidt racing with Ivan Arnold. She is at 6 minutes 24 on that first split time. So it's Alessandra Schmidt ahead of Lena Bonnell, Marianne Faton, Candice Bonnell, Alba Di Silvestro, Katia Mascherona, Marta Garcia, Sarah Dreyer, Maria Costa Diaz, Sofia Wessling, and Anna Tibor of Poland. We actually only have 11 teams in this B final. There was a Chinese team, but they are not competing. So we are down to 11 teams. And as we head up here, it is looks like Lena Bonnell has taken the lead over the two Swiss athletes. There we are, we can see her in transition first. In comes Marianne Faton of Switzerland, and just you can see the red skis there on the right hand side of the transition of Alessandra Schmidt as they take off almost neck and neck. Alessandra Schmidt drops a pole, and as with the sprint race, transitions are so vitally important in this race. It's not just about the strength, it's not just about the skiing or the fitness, but the ability to really work efficiently and swiftly in transition. There is Candice Bonnell, who led much of that first climb, coming up there, neck and neck now with Alessandra Schmidt, but it's still Lena Bonnell next in the lead ahead of Marianne Faton. So it's France, Switzerland for the time being. And there is Lena Bonnell confidently striding out there as she heads to the top of the last bit of skinning on this part of the course, on this second round of the course. She will then ski down and hand over to her partner, Baptiste Elmenreich. Swiss team coach there, encouraging Marianne Faton as she comes past. And I should imagine Alessandra Schmidt not far behind her as well. But between them is Candice Bonnell. But Lena Bonnell putting in a good gap now between her and Marianne Faton. Marianne Faton had not a great race yesterday, sadly. A couple of slips and error and not her usual results that she would have been expecting. Disappointing, but I am very sure that she is fairly philosophical and will have learned a lot from that yesterday. This is a really nice angle, watching them going in, and Lena Bonnell is off. Marianne Faton off as well, as Alessandra Schmidt seems to have come in there in front of Candice Bonnell. We will be able to confirm that very shortly. And getting ready in the start area will be Baptiste Elmenreich and Thomas Bussard. There's a very last transition here just before the changeover. So they don't ski into the handover. They stop again, they put their skins back on, and then they skin as fast as possible to their waiting partners. It serves two purposes. One, it slows them down, it makes it safer so they're not skidding in super fast on their skis, but also adds to a bit of tension and excitement because, as I say, transitions are everything. But here comes Lena Bonnell, ready to hand over to Baptiste Elmenreich. And there he is in his distinctive red chamois helmet. And there is Ivan Arnold, I beg your pardon, Thomas Bussard. He is raring to go. These are two very fast sprinters here. Thomas Bussard, quite possibly with a little bit more experience on the sprint, but this is not a sprint. It is easy to confuse the two because they're short, because they're easily viewable by the public, but it is a lot longer than a sprint. Make no mistake. Yesterday's course was 68 meters of vertical. Today is 153. So it's really over double the amount. So it's about knowing how to keep your energy, how to recover quickly. So these women will now be going straight back in to keep warm, keep turning the legs over. Many of them will be on static bikes, something that the Swiss team introduced a couple of years ago and seems to have been copied by a lot of the teams. As we see there, Thomas Bussard heading off up the hill with Baptiste Elmenreich hot on his heels. They will want to conserve, keep going, keep the speed, keep the distance between the two teams behind. But as I say, it's a lot of meters to be going full tilt. A little bit more, as I say, than the sprint. So to give you a quick reminder, Lena Bonnell came in first, a time of 11:58. Marianne Faton behind her 3 seconds later. Candice Bonnell followed by Alessandra Schmidt. Alba Di Silvestro of Italy in 5th. Marta Garcia Fares followed by Katia Mascaroni, Sarah Dreyer, Maria Costa Diaz, Sophia Westling, and we have just had up on the screen, although on my results screen, but not on the visuals, Anna Tibor of Poland has just handed over to Jakub Bachleda. But it's currently the team of Marianne Faton and Thomas Bussard in the lead with Baptiste Elmenreich, who is Lorna Bonnell's partner. Today, toe to heel, making a little burst for it there. Thomas Bussard will not take that lightly as they both break into a run. The running style is affectionately known by the Austrians as Vernon, because they name it after Werner Marti, who is very well known for putting that into place. He can just jog. It's almost like jogging uphill. You see it more, in my experience, with the men than with the women, but it can be quite energy sapping if you try to use it too often. But it looks there like Baptiste Elmenreich may have got a little bit of a lead, and he's crossing in front of Thomas Bussard to make sure that he stops a counter-attack as they head in, but it also takes him closer to the inside of the turn, getting into transition. And it is Baptiste Elmenreich followed by Thomas Bussard as they head down into the first downhill of the race. The distinctive red helmet there of Baptiste Elmenreich. And they come down into into transition, back to skins for that second climb. Quite a decent gap here now between these two men, France and Switzerland, and the rest of the field, they are halfway through, in fact, almost finished their transition, and we haven't seen sign of anybody yet. Battista Emmerich taking off there, as Michele Boscacci of Italy rocks in beside Thomas Bussard. Thomas Bussard obviously having a bit of trouble because that's a very, very long transition for him. There we are. Combined time of 17 minutes, 17 seconds. Thomas Bussard takes off a good 14, beg your pardon, as we can see there, 14 seconds behind. There must have been some sort of trouble in transition for him. Michele Boscacci has caught up some good time there for the Italian team. He is racing with his partner and wife, Alba Di Silvestro, followed by Candice Bonnel, beg your pardon, Florian Sautel, Ivan Arnold, Inigo Martinez, Luca Tomazoni, and Armin Höffel. Baptiste Emmerich into the boot pack into the transition for the boot pack. You can tell it's boot pack apart from the fact that he's putting skis on his back and he's on his feet. But the yellow, you see the yellow markers along the side. Yellow indicates foot part or boot pack, depending on what part of the world you come from. The official terminology is foot part. As Thomas Bussard enters that behind him. Michele Boscacci, you can see just at the top of your screen there, also coming in. Florian Sautel takes off up the steps. Behind him, Ivan Arnold of Switzerland. Actually, that may have been Inigo Martinez of Spain, my apologies. It is indeed Inigo Martinez and Florian Sautel. My apologies, that's Luca Tomazoni. Florian Sautel is ahead. Inigo Martinez and Luca Tomazoni. Baptiste Emmerich putting in a good distance between himself and Thomas Bussard. He will be round to the bottom again and into that last very short, well, it's a same length of transition, but very short skinning section after that into handing over to his partner, Lena Bonnel. If you've just joined us, we are on the B final of the mixed relay race here in Val Thorens. It's the first weekend of the Vert Modif ISMF World Cup. We can see on our screens Michele Boscacci of Italy, currently in third place, racing with Alba Di Silvestro, and he is behind Thomas Bussard with Baptiste Emmerich in the lead as they come down to hand back over to their female counterparts, Florian Sautel, Luca Tomazoni, Inigo Martinez, as Baptiste Elmenreich heads into transition to the handover, not transition, into the handover, and Lena Bonnell will be waiting. There she is, rearing to go. Now all he has to do here is touch part of her body or her bag. Counting a pole does not count. That is very specifically in the rules, but that is Lena Bonnell off for her final lap. The pressure is on because she has Marianne Faton ready to go, and there is the touch from Thomas Bussard as Marianne Faton heads off up the hill to desperately, well, let's not say desperately, shall we, to catch up with Lena Bonnell. Alba de Silvestro heading off as well. And these men will be off to keep warm, keep the lactic from building. And there we can see Katia Mascaroni heading off after the handover from Luca Tomazzoni. Lena Bonnell looking strong and very efficient in her climb there. Look at the gap here now between the French team, led currently by Lena Bonnell, Marianne Faton behind her in the red, with bearing down on her Alba Di Silvestro, Candice Bonnell and Marta Garcia Fares. It's always interesting in the mixed relay race when there is one partner that is potentially stronger in this kind of race. As you saw, there was, and it's often between the men, actually, because there are fewer women, they're all very strong. There's usually not a huge amount of shifting between the women during their race, during their sections, but often with the men, some of the men are less strong than their female partners. They're less strong than some of the men around them, and so it shifts the dynamic, it shifts the ranking as they go around the race. But here we see Alba Di Silvestro in front of Marta Garcia Fares and Candice Bonnell. Just gone off the left of our screen there with Marianne Faton in second. So we're currently looking at third, fourth and fifth in this B final in the mixed relay here in Val Thorens on a beautiful but very cold day after a lot of snow fell yesterday. Here's the Swiss team out, making sure that they are, that's Florian Ulrich with the tall, with the red hat on, as Alba Di Silvestro and Marta Garcia Fares make a bit of a gap there, I think, between themselves and Candice Bonnell. But there is Lena Bonnell out on her own as she comes up to the top of this, her penultimate climb of the day, of the weekend. They're far out on Looker's right of the course. And yes, we can see there, in fact, it's looking very close. Marianne Faton, Alba Di Silvestro, Marta Garcia Fares and Candice Bonnell. Marta Garcia Fares yesterday absolutely thrilled to make it to a final 2 years after she, well, a year after she came back from maternity leave, but 2 years since she's made a final. So she was absolutely thrilled. That was Lena Bonnell heading off down. So you can see what a huge difference, a huge gap there is between them as Marianne Faton takes her skins off and the third, fourth and fifth come in. Marianne Faton out. Very, very fast on her transition, former world champion sprinter, so absolutely key knowledge of transition there. Marta Garcia Fares, Alba Di Silvestro, an excellent downhill skier, not somebody you want hot on your heels. But then let's face it, these women are at the top of their game, so there are no slouches. Although this is the B final, it is not because these women, these teams are not at the top of their game. It's because there is a quota and only one team per country allowed into the A final. Lena Bonnell taking off there for her final ascent of the morning. She will have, as we've seen already, skinning, bit of foot, and then some more skinning and a ski down to hand over to Baptiste Emmenreich. Marianne Faton just taking off there. Lena Bonnell in a combined time so far, 28 minutes, 28 seconds. Marianne Faton racing with Thomas Bussard today, 24 seconds behind her. And then Marta Garcia Fares, Alba Di Silvestro. Not much in it with those three women. We've also just seen Katia Mascherona of Italy come through a full minute behind the leading team. Alba Di Silvestro and Michele Boscacci are actually one of the most consistent pairings throughout the relay races that we have seen. They are bronze medalists in the European Championships in 2022 in Boitaul. 5th in Var Martello last year, well, earlier this year, but last season, and 11th at the World Championships earlier this year. Lena Bonnell absolutely keeping that gap nice and solidly between her and Marianne Faton, but that actually, yes, Marianne Faton is off there with Marta Garcia Fares hot on her heels, really close behind. Marta Garcia Fares making slightly lighter work of these steps, making a bit of a challenge there. But coming towards the top of the steps, just ahead of Marianne Faton. Both of them actually had a season out 2 seasons ago. As I said earlier, Marta Garcia Fares had a baby, and Marianne Faton had a slew of injuries and was juggling busy studies, and so just took a year out to regroup, reset, and has come back really, really strong. Both of them come back super strong, and it's just so amazing and so gratifying to see such strong female athletes back and on form. Lena Bonnell of France having an absolutely phenomenal day here as she comes up to transition down into the final ski. There she is, as she heads off down to hand over for the very last time to Baptiste Emmenreich. Baptiste Emmenreich has previously raced with Celia Perea-Pessé. They were 8th in Val Martello earlier this year. And it's Marta Garcia Fares ahead of Marianne Faton, as she has kept that lead that she took in the foot part as they ski down for their final handover of the morning. There she goes. Last few meters of her working day today. Powering up there on that last transition handover. And any minute now, at the bottom of our screens, we will see Baptiste Emmenreich ready to rock and roll and hold on to that lead that Lena Bonnell has really given everything for this morning. And they're off. Marianne Faton powering ahead there, though, to give Thomas Bussard a bit of a boost ahead of Inigo Martinez. She has overtaken Marta Garcia Fares and thundering in here, giving every last ounce of energy because she's done. What an effort. Marta Garcia Fares also done for the day as Thomas Bussard and Inigo Martinez take off in the absolute fight of the day to try and, first of all, catch up to Baptiste Emmenreich, but also to battle for second place if they don't catch Baptiste Emmenreich. Alba De Silvestro hands over to Michele Boscacci. She's done for the day and he's off to finish the job as they all battle on for this B final. Let's not forget that once the B final is finished, it will be, surprise, surprise, the A final. But we will come to that. Florian Sautel takes off from Candice Bonnel. Luca Tomazzoni from Katia Mascarona. But it's Baptiste Emmenreich sitting comfortably in the lead as they head off into the very last round, the penultimate climb. This is the first climb of the last round for the men. "85 meters of vertical." A little bit of a replay there of the last handover for the women. That Marianne Faton, the last transition, I beg your pardon. Marianne Faton did quite a bit faster than Marta Garcia. Thomas Bussard is working very, very hard there in the middle of our screens in the red to catch up to Baptiste Elmenreich. Such an experienced, even though he's still a very young athlete, Thomas Bussard, a very, very experienced athlete indeed. Finished 11th overall in the sprint last year. Sits 14th in the world with a slew of under 20 titles to his name. But still being held off by Baptiste Elmenreich as he heads down to the bottom of the first descent on this last lap. Thomas Bussard of Switzerland on your screens right now. And what is interesting in the relay race is that unlike the sprint, they have to be quite careful with their skins. Now some, I understand, take several pairs of skins, but they have to be quite careful to make sure that they are ready again because they're up, down, up, down. Whereas in the sprint, you just get to the top, whip them off, chuck them in your vest, and away you go.
Baptiste qui pourrait nous prouver dans quelques instants qu'il vaut mieux monter en ski alpique en télésiège. Il va être plus rapide que le télésiège.
Baptiste Elmenreich there with a total time of 39:38. So we're probably looking at closer to a 45, 46 minute final here, as there is Thomas Bussard. With it almost just over 19 seconds behind the leader, Inigo Martinez of Spain. And behind him, Michele Boscacci with the distinctive yellow helmet. Michele Boscacci, as I'm sure you know, part of the current record-holding team for the Patrouille des Glaciers with Robert Antonioli and Matteo Idalin in a staggering 5 hours 35 from Zermatt to Verbier, 65 kilometers, 4,000 meters of vertical. And that, of course, is the long-distance world championship this year. So it will be exciting to see who goes for it. I know there are some very big contenders. It's very, very one of the big goals of the season for very many of the athletes. But this is a very different animal. The mixed relay, it's fast, it's furious. It's not about endurance, certainly more endurance than the sprint, but definitely not as much endurance as the Patrouille des Glaciers. Thomas Bussard up into the foot part. Slightly different design on the Swiss suits this year. I noticed the pouch cut on the diagonal. This presumably meaning it is easier for them to just get those skins right in there. Inigo Martinez with Michele Boscacci hot on his heels. Oh, in fact, Michele Boscacci is making a bit of a push for it, making Inigo Martinez work for his place. Challenging that third place. And away they go. Inigo Martinez and Marta Garcia Fares, fourth in the World Championships this year, and sixth in Val Martello. They were 10th here last year, looking like they are going to, all being well, smash that particular ranking. But as well, it looks like that Inigo Martinez has held off Michele Boscacci, as Baptiste Emmerich takes a bit of a tumble coming out of transition. That will lose him a little bit of time, but he takes a quick glance to see that Thomas Bussard is still taking his skins off, so hopefully he will feel not too worried by that. And there, Thomas Bussard comes down behind him. Inigo Martinez takes off well ahead of Michele Boscacci, who's having a bit of trouble there, getting his skins in. And here we go. We're about to see our first win of the morning on the B final here in Val Thorens at the Vert Modif ISMF World Cup. That is the finish line we're looking at there. So it's the same transition, that very last transition, but instead of going left, they go right and they will go through, and their partners will be waiting for them. And this is what makes this last transition so unbelievably exciting. There is a good gap though between the first and second, but I will be excited to see what happens with the ones after that. Here comes Michele Boscacci, but it is Baptiste Emmerich and Lena Bonnell that win the B final here in Val Thorens. Here is Thomas Bussard to be met, I'm sure, by Marianne Faton, taking the second place with 8 seconds behind. Two very extraordinary performances there, and Inigo Martinez is going to make it a third place along with his partner Marta Garcia Fares, who I'm sure will be there to greet him. And Michele Boscacci comes across the line in fourth, having raced with Alba Di Silvestro. Those two had a bit of a battle there for third place. And photo opportunity for the French team. It is Lena Bonnell and Baptiste Emmerich that take the win in the B final here at the mixed relay in a total time of 44 minutes 18. Eight seconds behind them, Marianne Faton and Thomas Bussard. And a good 30 seconds behind them, behind the winners, Marta Garcia and Inigo Martinez, with Alba Di Silvestro and Michele Boscacci. There is Florian Sautel coming across the line to be greeted by Candice Bonnell, Luca Tomazzoni and Katia Mascherona come in sixth. What a great start to the racing here today in Val Thorens. The French team take the victory, so that will have gone down well with the local crowd, with the home crowd. Shortly after this is finished, we will be going to the A final. It is due to start at 11 o'clock. I will confirm as soon as I know that that is happening, because we're a little late starting with this one. As Armin Höfel of Austria finishes, he has been racing with Sarah Dreyer, and they are 7th. They were first out onto the starting grid, and they are first across the line. It was in fact Candice Bonnell that took the lead in the beginning. In case you were wondering, Candice and Lena are in fact sisters. I'm sure many of you knew that. There is a third Bonnell in the circuit, Lorna. She is their cousin. So a great morning of racing after the women's first round, which was a little different from the rest of the race. It pretty much stayed in exactly the same order all the way round, with the French team followed by the Swiss and the Spaniards. I would say that Michele Boscacci and Alba Di Silvestro were in and out of third, but really the top two places were pretty much confirmed by the time that Baptiste Elmenreich and Thomas Bussard got on to the course. So yeah, looks like multiple skins, certainly for those two women we just saw, Marta Garcia Fares and Marianne Faton. Meaning they don't have to worry about untangling them, they don't have to worry about the time it takes to put them back together. And there is Baptiste Elmenreich, very happy indeed. Thomas Bussard and Marianne Faton. And it is a French victory on home turf. Just to confirm that. Lena Bonnell and Baptiste Elmenreich take the victory in 44 minutes 18 seconds. Thomas Bussard and Marianne Faton from Switzerland. In third place, Inigo Martinez and Marta Garcia, Michele Boscacci and Alba Di Silvestro, Candice Bonnell and Florian Sautel, Katia Mascarona, Luca Tomazoni, Sarah Dreyer, Armin Höffel, Maria Costa Diaz and Ott Ferrer, Sophia Wessling and Felix Grammelsberger. That is all we have across the line at the moment. We only started with 11. I can tell you that the Polish team did not start the second round for their female competitor, Anna Tibor. Now, looking ahead to the A final. Well, exciting times. Let's have a little look at that. I can talk us through that. Emily Harrop and Thibaut Anselme, current world and European champions. There they are, right in front of us. Emily Harrop had a DNF yesterday on the sprint after some skins issues. Ana Alonso Rodriguez and Oriol Cardona Cole. First in Val Martello last year, and here are the silver medalists from the European and World Championships, both in 2022 and 2023. That was Giulia Murada and Nicolo Canclini. Caroline Ulrich, yesterday's winner of the women's sprint with John Kistler, who was the world champion youth in the mixed relay with Thibaut Descent. Oh, a bit of a fancy dance there for the Austrians. Johanna Hiemer and Paul Verbniak, Mariana Jegorchikova and Jakub Czarnik, considering whether they should do a fancy dance, but going for just a nice wave and a pat on the back. Mariana Jegorchikova, of course, European and world champion in the sprint. Tatiana Paller and Finn Hirsch. Tatiana Paller, a very strong sprinter indeed. Team from China here, Team 33, Suolong Kuzhen and Izimeyer Tueterali. My apologies for the pronunciation. Ivona Januszczyk on her own without Jan Elentowski, but racing hopefully with him indeed, Rhea Kobel and Clemens Brandring. So Rhea Kobel now competing for her native Slovenia after having competed for the US for a few years. Norio Kadero and Ayaka Ueda of Japan. Arthur Whitehead and Gwen Rudy from the United States.
Et c'est le moment jamais pour vous entendre que vous soyez sur télésiège. Jouez avec nous du côté du plateau du départ, mesdames et messieurs le public. We want to hear you!
Some encouragement there from the course commentators as we see across that front line there. Mariana Igichikova, Joanna Hiemer, Emily Harrop, Anna Alonso, Julia Murada and Caroline Ulrich. And they're off. This is the A final, bang on time. Congratulations to everybody for that. It is just past 11 in the morning in Val Thorens, and we are here watching the final, the A final for the mixed relay. It's the first one of the season. It's the second race of the season, but the first mixed relay. Johanna Hiemer of Austria taking a lead there ahead of Anna Alonso. Emily Harrop on the far side there. And Caroline Ulrich just in behind, I think, Ivona Janosik. No, Caroline Ulrich in fourth. Johanna Hiemer has raced. She raced here last year with Armin Höfel. But she has been racing with Paul Verbniak since Val Martello. They were 11th in Val Martello and they were 8th in the World Championships. So for them now to be in the A final, well, they were in the A final before, but this is a good opportunity for them to show what they can do. There is Johanna Hiemer with Emily Harrop powering up on her right, putting in a little boost there to overtake. And Johanna Hiemer responds, does not want to be left behind, but Emily Harrop, I largely suspect after the disappointment of yesterday, will have some serious motivation today, shall we say, to get round and get round exceptionally well. Of course, there is a bit of a she has a European and world title to uphold, so she also raced last year in Val Martello with Robin Galando, but she is back with her usual partner, Thibaut Anselmet, and she has taken the lead ahead of Johanna Hiemer. Behind them, Ana Alonso of Spain, and I think Ivona Janosik of Poland. It is indeed Ivona Janosik of Poland. Behind them, Julia Murada, Caroline Ulrich, but Tatiana Paller powering up, overtaking Caroline Ulrich. Behind them in the green helmet is Mariana Jagichikova. Emily Harrop, Johanna Hiemer, Anna Alonso, Ivona Janosik of Poland, Julia Murada, Tatiana Paller, Caroline Ulrich, Mariana Jagichikova. That is the order in which we see this first climb, the women. Ivona Janosik putting on a bit of power there to get past Anna Alonso. Ivona Janosik is an officer in the Polish Air Force, and she has been able to spend the last few months and will spend the whole of the season actually being able to concentrate on just training She's not working, which is something that obviously many ski mountaineers would love to be able to do, because that is, of course, the dream for a professional athlete. And some of them have had that opportunity for the first time this year, and Ivona Janušek is one of them. So it'd be really interesting to see how she capitalizes on that opportunity of just being able to train. She is, of course, a mum of a little boy, and I know she likes to get home to see him as much as she can between races. But it is Emily Harrop first into transition. I believe that is Johanna Himmer, and behind her Emily Harrop takes off first, showing why she is the world #1 overall, and also in the relay. Anna Alonso follows Johanna Himmer down the hill. So it is currently France, Austria, and Spain. Behind them, I think Julia Murada, we'll be able to see in a second. And here we are into the transition for the second uphill. They will, just to remind you, have 33 meters of vertical on skins, then 15 meters of vertical on the foot part, followed by another 20 on skins in this second. And it's a second uphill. It's a loop through the middle. Emily Harrop takes off with Anna Alonso and Julia Murada absolutely hot on her heels, with Johanna Himmer now sitting in fourth. That is Caroline Ulrich getting her poles on just at the top of our screens. And we can see there that coming through, Emily Harrop went through in 6:14, followed by Ana Alonso Rodriguez, Julia Murada, Johanna Himmer, Caroline Ulrich, Tatiana Paller, Mariana Jegicikova, and Ivona Janušek, who's dropped right back after a pretty punchy start to the first climb. Ana Alonso still in second, but Julia Murada absolutely hot on her heels. Julia Murada and Nicolo Canclini, of course, silver medalists in both the European and World Championships, with the new European Championships coming up in around 6 weeks' time, in the middle of January in Flaine and Chamonix in France, in a joint twin centre European Championships. It will be all guns a-blazing to see who can either retain or take that title of European champions in all disciplines, of course, but for their nation in the mixed relay. As Emily Harrop comes in to transition to the foot part. Julia Murada, second out of transition there, with Ana Alonso just right behind her. Johanna Himmer having a little bit of trouble with getting her skis hooked on there. Mariana Jegicikova and Caroline Ulrich neck and neck in fifth spot. Looks like Caroline Ulrich just a couple of steps ahead of Mariana Jegicikova, and gaining fast on Johanna Himmer. Of course, Caroline Ulrich had her historic first elite senior women's win in the sprint yesterday. Unbelievably exciting for her. It was just what a brilliant result, and such a lovely interview with her as she chatted to Christine Cavigny so soon after, with complete disbelief and delight on her face. Giulia Murada, second overall in the World Cup rankings last year, making a nice little gap here now between her and Anna Alonso as Caroline Ulrich continues to come through the field, putting herself into fourth place behind Anna Alonso and in front of Johanna Hiemer. Emily Harrop with a good distance there. Between her and the rest of the pack. And there is Caroline Ulrich, gone into third place, behind Giulia Murada and Emily Harrop. Anna Alonso in behind her, Johanna Hiemer, Mariana Jegorchikova. And Emily Harrop smoothly down this descent. And she will be about to hand over to Thibaut Anselmet. Giulia Murada in second, Caroline Ulrich in third, Anna Alonso in fourth. Emily Harrop did this lap in the fastest in qualification time. She did it in 11:17. So it'll be interesting to see what her time is as she comes out of her first lap to hand over to Thibaut Anselmet. Giulia Murada there, just come in. And in fact, there's Emily Harrop behind that gentleman. As Emily Harrop powers up this last little section on her first round. And we will soon see Thibaut Anselmet just popping into our screens as she gets ready to do the magic touch. There she is, and there he is, ready to roll. Caroline Ulrich has overtaken Giulia Murada to come into second. As Thibaut Anselmet takes off first, and Caroline Ulrich hands over to John Kistler in his first year as a senior, but he is the youth mixed world champion, so has an enormous amount of experience. But let's see how he does up against the likes of Thibaut Anselmet and Niccolò Canclini, because it's a big leap from juniors into racing with these wildly experienced elite athletes. No matter how strong you are, that can be quite an intimidating jump. However, Caroline Ulrich just gave him the best possible chance that she could by getting him into second place behind Thibaut Anselmet. So it was Emily Harrop ahead of Caroline Ulrich and Giulia Murada, Anna Alonso, Johanna Hiemer, Mariana Jegorchikova, Tatiana Paller and Ivona Januszczyk have just come through. And it's tight here in this first uphill for the men. It's not tight at the front. It looks like Thibaut Anselmet has made a good gap, but there we have John Kistler, Niccolò Canclini, Oriol Cardona-Call, Paul Verbniak and my apologies, Jakub Siarnik had a complete moment there. I do apologise. Look at the gap that Thibaut Anselme has made here. This is another home favourite, and he has made a huge gap between himself and John Kissler. As we see Oriol Cardona-Coll powering into second, ahead of John Kissler. Nicolo Canclini in behind him in the Italian colours with the white helmet. Paul Verbniak, the tall, young Austrian athlete, making a bit of a battle for it. He wants to be up there with Oriol Cardona-Coll and has put himself into third place. He has been working very hard. I've mentioned this a few times this weekend, but many of the athletes have said how they are really working a lot on their strength training to try and make them stronger for these, relatively speaking, much quicker races. Well, the sprint is enormously quick, but in order to be stronger, have better muscle strength, and Paul Verbniak is one of those, as he pushes himself into third place behind Oriol Cardona-Coll, who is now quite far behind Thibaut Anselme, as they come up to the first climb, the top of the first climb for the men in the A final here in Val Thorens. Thibaut Anselme takes off first, holding on to that lead. He is, of course, one of the best sprinters, and so his ability to transition fast. In fact, all of these men, certainly the ones, certainly one behind him, Oriol Cardona-Coll, the world champion and yesterday's winner in the sprint, he knows a thing or two about transition, that is for sure. And there he is, the man himself, coming down currently in second place, racing with Ana Alonso. Quite a regular pairing. They won in Val Martello. They were second here in Val Thorens last year. And fourth at the European Championships. Fifth in the World Championships. Thibaut Anselme quickly glancing up, but not much time to do that because Oriol Cardona-Coll is straight in behind him. And a very different sort of style there from Oriol Cardona-Coll as they get their skins back on. Thibaut Anselme onto his second ski. Oriol Cardona-Coll seconds, nanoseconds behind as they come powering through here to head up to their second uphill, which will of course include the foot part. Both of these athletes exceptionally strong on the foot part, so really exciting to see. Now it is neck and neck with Thibaut Anselme and Oriol Cardona-Coll. Oriol Cardona-Coll trying and looking like just taking that lead, but Thibaut Anselme is not having any of that as they take off up here neck and neck. Very, very, very close between these two exceptional athletes. Thibaut Anselme of France and Oriol Cardona-Coll of Spain. He is the sprint world champion. Thibaut Anselme won the overall World Cup last year. Pretty much don't get much higher caliber of racing than these two men right here. There is Paul Verbniak of Austria in third, Nicolo Canclini in fourth, John Kissler in fifth. I say this is John's first race, relay race in the seniors, but Caroline Ulrich, his partner, she has raced with Robin Bussard, Arnaud Lieta and Matteo Favre. So she is the more experienced, certainly, of the two in terms of working with different partners. And certainly this is her second year in the senior category. So a little bit more experience in this field than her slightly younger partner. As Oriel Cardona-Coll comes to the top of the foot part, pulls off, skis off. And away they go, so fast. Paul Verbniak taking off in third, Nico Canclini, silver medalist in both the World and European Championships, in fourth. Clearly the motivation here for Oriel Cardona-Coll is to win, but if you look at the comparison of Ana Alonso and Emily Harrop, he will also be wanting to give Ana Alonso a bit of a lead over Emily Harrop, who is, despite a couple of technical issues yesterday to do with her skins, on absolutely top form and a little bit more experienced than Ana Alonso. However, it is Thibaut Anselme who just took off a fraction of a second quicker, but Oriel Cardona-Coll is out and away and will be looking to, as I say, give as much advantage to Ana Alonso as possible. Paul Verbniak out third, Nicolo Canclini up and away. John Kistler coming in there in fifth. This is a great performance from Paul Verbniak. Not normally, as I say, his speciality. Highest placing in a relay race in the senior category is 8th in the World Championships. But he and Johanna Hiemer and the rest of the Austrian team just on the constant up and up. Here we are, getting the first two athletes getting ready to hand back over to their female counterparts. It's so close at the top two. It's also so close for the two after them. Thibaut Anselme, and a bit of trouble for Oriel Cardona-Coll. Thibaut Anselme powers off ahead of him. Looks like something not quite right with the left boot there for Oriel Cardona-Coll. And there they are, Emily Harrop and Ana Alonso Rodriguez. And she's away. Emily Harrop, last year's overall winner. In fact, 2 years in a row. Almost certainly hoping to make it a hat-trick as Paul Verbniak comes in third to hand over to Johanna Hiemer, and away they go. Away she goes, and as I was saying earlier in the B final, these men will be off to stay warm, keep the legs turning, and get themselves ready to take back over. Let's have a quick look there at the timings. Thibaut Anselme and Emily Harrop, 21:24. That is their combined time so far. Each of them has had a round. Oriel Cardona-Coll had a bit of a glitch there in his very last transition, so there's about a 7-second now gap between the two teams, and I suspect that Emily Harrop will make that bigger. I could be wrong. But it is currently Emily Harrop ahead of Johanna Hiemer. No, I beg your pardon, it isn't. Emily Harrop ahead of Ana Alonso with Johanna Hiemer in third. Julia Murada, Caroline Ulich, Mariana Jigichkova and Tatiana Paller. That is where they were when they left transition. As I say, it changes every time, nearly every time, with the different relative abilities of the athletes within their gender categories. And there's Anna Alonso putting a bit of a trot on. Emily Harrop doing the same, even though she now has a good strong lead over the Spaniard. Ana Alonso Rodriguez and Oriol Cardona Call were second here last year, currently second, sitting in second place now. I beg your pardon, Julia Murada right in behind Johanna Hiemer there, in that is third and fourth place we're looking at. Such a strong performance from the Austrians in this race so far today. As I say, everybody wants to get to the Olympics in 2026, and so the pressure and the motivation are high to really up the quality of training and making sure that these athletes really are super familiar with the discipline and making sure they have the right training in place, the right support, and all the teams are really stepping up. The quality is exceptional. The sun is now out. It is on the course, most of it. Well, Ana Alonso is still in the bit of a... There she goes into the sunshine. It's starting, the temperatures are starting to warm up just as we come into the second half of this race. We'll be with you until about 12:05. That is local time in France. After this A final is over, we will of course see the flower ceremonies and see the winners. Start of the last climb of the day for Emily Harrop in first, Ana Alonso in second, as they head up into the middle loop. Emily Harrop got a really good lead there. We will see a split time in a moment. As Ana Alonso comes out of that transition into her final climb for the day, 21.5 seconds, 21.5 seconds indeed behind Emily Harrop. That's a pretty punchy lead. As Julia Murada goes into third. With Johanna Hiemer and Caroline Ulrich. Caroline Ulrich doing her best to catch up. She came across the line second in her first lap, but she needs to put some work in if she's to catch up to the front runners here. Emily Harrop all on her own as she heads into the foot part. Julie Murada making a nice gap between her and Johanna Himmer and Caroline Ulrich as Anna Alonso comes in to transition for the foot part in second place. Good distance now behind Emily Harrop. Julia Murada at the top of our screens, at the bottom of the foot part. And just coming up right at the top of our screens, in there, it looks like Caroline Ulrich has gone ahead of Johanna Himmer of Austria. Emily Harrop is smiling. My word, I think she can feel the home crowd cheering her on. She is feeling presumably good and motivated after yesterday's mishap, and smiling. She was smiling for the camera, we know that. There's the photographer, so even in the deepest of the pain caves, there she goes. She's got a smile for us. There she is. Lots of support for Emily Harrop here on home turf. Anna Alonso putting a little trot on. Emily Harrop, her working day is just about over. It's nearly time for hot chocolate as she heads down into the final transition. And that is quite a gap now between herself and Anna Alonso, who is just coming out of transition at the top. I'm wondering if something has... No, that's Julia Murada. And there we have Caroline Ulrich. Johanna Himmer coming in there in fifth. Here she goes, Emily Harrop giving it her everything, every last ounce to hand over to Thibaut Anselme as they head up the hill, as he heads up the hill for his final lap. And Emily Harrop is done. 32:32:01 is the current time for that pairing as Anna Alonso absolutely belts it to the end of her final lap of the day to hand over to Oriol Cardona-Coll, who will have his work cut out. But given the form we saw he was in yesterday, I'm not terribly sure that will be that much of a challenge. But it is a good 45 seconds, 43 nearly, there we go, of time between the two pairs. So Oriol Cardona-Coll, but we did see nigh on magic from Oriol Cardona-Coll yesterday as he fell coming out the start gate and still managed to win the final of the sprint yesterday. So be under no illusion that that man can move when the moment requires it. Nicolo Canclini taking off in third. Giulia Morada giving him a good lead there over Caroline Ulrich and John Kistler, but Caroline Ulrich in her turn has taken back a place from Johanna Hiemer of Austria. And there we go, and Paul Verbniak is off. There is Thibaut Anselmet, the world #1, currently leading with the help of his equally excellent female compatriot and partner, Emily Harrop. Oriol Cardona-Coll, I'll be really interested to see what sort of time he takes back after the 43-second lead that the French team had over the Spaniards. Nicolo Canclini in third. Soon to be lawyer, part of the Italian Carabinieri team. He and Giulia Morada were fourth here in Val Thorens last year, so that would be a great position if they could stay in third. Or indeed even higher, of course, but looking like it's a pretty tough call at the top of the race. There is Thibaut Anselmet taking off. He's just glancing to his left because, as we could see just in our screens there, you can see near the top, now sort of in the middle, that Oriol Cardona-Coll was heading to the transition. Thibaut Anselmet just coming out of transition, as we just saw on the right of our screens there. Oriol Cardona-Coll, we should see him there. He is in and it looks like they may have lapped one of the other teams, which means they will be out of the race. Thibaut Anselmet will have his work cut out here as we're going to see the split between them. It was 43 seconds when Thibaut Anselmet took over from Emily Harrop, and Oriol Cardona-Coll took over from Ana Alonso. It was just under 43 seconds. We shall see how much Oriol Cardona-Coll, oof, he's pretty much half that. He's 26. I mean, that's not an insurmountable, that is not a small amount of time to make up, but he has absolutely taken a massive chunk out of that lead that the French team have over the Spaniards. Not surprising, as we said, his form, based purely on yesterday, is pretty phenomenal at the moment. Nicola Canclini, 1 minute and 17 seconds off the lead. They will be looking, all things being equal, at third at best. Caroline Ulrich and John Kissler. Obviously, that is John Kissler's time, coming in about 11 seconds after them. Paul Verbniak, a few seconds behind in fifth. So the battles here are first and second, and then for the third place in behind them. Thibaut Anselmet, though, holding that lead. It is shorter, but it is still very much there. Oriol Cardona-Cole powering up through these diamonds. And the home crowd going crazy for Thibaut Anselmet, as I suspect he nears the top if he's not there already. Not quite. So the B final finished in 44.18. Well, the first place was in 44.18. So we are minutes away, because this is a fast, these were the faster teams, obviously. Thibaut Anselmet just has to get down. The only people that, in fact, Thibaut Anselmet and Emily Harrop have ever lost to in the mixed relay, certainly in recent times, are, in fact, Hannah Alonso and Oriol Cardona-Cole. So they will be happy to have held them at bay as Thibaut Anselmet comes down in the lead. What a spectacular pairing of these two world number ones. Oriol Cardona-Cole doing his absolute best to catch up. But I feel like this is going to be a second French victory of the day. Into transition. This one really counts. In comes Oriol Cardona-Cole. That looks like the Polish team athlete from before. As Thibaut Anselmet takes off. Little victory wave as Emily Harrop is right there and greets her teammate as the French team take their another mixed relay win. They won here in Val Thorens last year. They're the European and World Champions, and here they are winning again in front of a home crowd. Oriol Cardona-Cole brings it home in second place to win with Ana Alonso for Spain. 22 seconds. He took 20 seconds off the deficit and has come in second. And Nicola Canclini into the last transition there. As Paul Verbniak has come into fourth. There is John Kissler. This is going to be a bit of a battle for those last two big podium spaces. places, I should say, as Nicolo Canclini comes to greet Giulia Morada and take third place for Italy. A good almost minute and a half behind the winning time. Caroline Ulrich getting ready to greet John Kissler, but before that it is Johanna Himmer and Paul Verbniak in fourth. The Swiss will have to be happy with fifth. Well, what a race! Unbelievable. The top teams, some of those are absolutely rock solid teams with combinations. For example, Emily Harrop and Thibaut Anselme, Nicolo Canclini, Giulia Morada, Anna Alonso and Oriol Cardona-Cole. You can see why they are still up there at the top, because they are consistent. They're all exceptionally good athletes in their own right. And it is just really exciting. I tell you what is actually quite exciting, as I mentioned before, to see the Austrians come fourth in the mixed relay. That is their highest result. Johanna Himmer and Paul Verbniak, so congratulations to them. Caroline Ulrich and John Kissler in fifth. Coming across the line in seventh there, Tatiana Paller and Finn Hirsch, Mariana Jegorčíková and Jakub Sjarnik of Slovakia in sixth, I beg your pardon, seventh. No, sixth. They are sixth. They're sixth. Okay, bib number 6, position number 7 for Mariana Jegorčíková and Jakub Sjarnik. That looks like United States athlete Arthur Whitehead. He is racing with Gwen Rudy. And over to Christine Cavagnier, who is with the winners, Emily Harrop and Thibaut Anselme.
Thibaut Anselme, first victory of the season with the mixed relay. Again, a smile on your face after the unlucky day, the first day of yesterday. Today it was perfect. Sunny day, perfect race, and first place crossing the finishing line.
Yeah, no, we're really, really happy today. For sure, to start off the mixed relay racing season, we love these races, and so it's really great to come back with a win. After last year, we did it as well, so we're really happy to do it again here, and after yesterday, it's a good revenge.
So Thibaut, the victory last year for the mixed relay here in Val Thorens, a victory this year too, but it was a tough race and a fight between you and Oriol Cardona.
Yeah, for sure. It's very, very good to start the season like this. It's always good to race with Emily. Today we are so happy to win, and yeah, really mixed relay. It's always good to see. It's a beautiful race, and yeah, it's a great day.
Congrats, guys.
Emily Harrop and Thibaut Anselme. Today's winners, they're for France, really establishing a bit of a pattern here. In second place, Ana Alonso Rodriguez, Oriol Cardona Coll. Third place, Giulia Morada and Nico Canclini. Fourth for Austria, Johanna Himmer and Paul Verbniak. John Kistler and Caroline Ulrich for Switzerland. Tatiana Paller and Finn Hirsch for Germany. Mariana Jegicikova and Jakub Siarnik of Slovakia. Ivona Januszczyk and Jan Elentowski of Poland. Back to Christine for another interview, I suspect, with Ana Alonso and Oriol Cardona Coll.
Ana Alonso, Oriol Cardona, second place on the podium of the first mixed relay of the season. What about the race, Ana? Are you satisfied?
Yes, I'm satisfied. I feel good. I have good memories from last year here. We have achieved the same result, so I believe that is a big start of the season. So yes, I'm happy.
Oriol, yesterday a great day with a lot of loss of energies also on the sprint, and today it was a fight with you and Thibaut. Very good for you on the first and the second loop.
Yeah, of course, it's been nice. I think today we are a little bit tired, so we are in the same conditions. But it's been super nice for me to fight with him. I think there were some times in the race that we were close. So for me, that's enough, and I'm so happy with the result with Anna, and hope this season is going to be as great as today.
Perfect beginning of the season. Podium yesterday, podium today for you.
Yes, of course. I'm feeling in a good shape, and now there's 1 month till the next European Champs, so let's try to rest a little and keep training.
Thank you very much.
Oriol Cardona Coll, as Christine said there, on his second podium of the weekend. He won yesterday in the men's sprint in a spectacular display of power over mishap, having fallen at the start, and second today alongside his compatriot Ana Alonso Rodriguez. And we are now going back to Christine, who has Giulia Morada and Nicolo Canclini.
We are here with Giulia Morada and Nicolo Canclini, third place on the podium. A very great smile on your face. We start with a podium on the mixed relay, the first mixed relay of the season. We will have 5 this year. 5 possibility to be on the podium.
I'm really happy to be on the podium and to start the season this way. Yesterday's sprint was okay, but being on the podium is better. With Nicolo, we made a great team, and I'm happy to race with him. I know I can trust him even when he's not in his best shape, so it's a good day.
But you try to do your best from the start to the finish. You know that it was very difficult and hard with Oriol and with Thibaut, but you are right to cross as further finishing. This is a great satisfaction.
Yes, it is. I knew they were on another level in this moment. I'm not in my best shape. I couldn't be together with them, but Giulia, she did a great race, and he gave me the possibility to bring us a third place.
It's
a bronze medal.
Perfect. So a good beginning for the next stages.
Yeah. Now there is a lot of time till the European Championship, so there's a lot of space to improve, to train and work on the last things. And I hope we and all the Italian team will arrive at the European Championship in great shape and reaching great results.
Thank you very much. Congrats.
Thanks.
Okay.
Third place team there, Giulia Morada and Nicolo Canclini. Nicolo Canclini saying he's not on his best form, but well, you could have fooled us, but as I said, as I was saying earlier, it's very much a team effort. When you know that perhaps your teammate is not on their best form, or perhaps relatively speaking to the people around them, they are not as strong, it is comforting to know that you can be boosted by them as they do their best in their element. to give you as much advantage when you get round to yours. That is the beauty of the mixed relay, a relatively new event. This is only its third season in existence, and as Christine was saying, there are 5 of them this season as we head ever closer to Milan Cortina in 2026, where this is one of the disciplines alongside the sprint that will be on display for the world to see ski mountaineering on TV for the very first time in an Olympic capacity. Of course, we are delighted to be on the Olympic channel right now, but also looking forward to being in Milan Cortina in 2026. What a great morning of racing, very exciting. Started off cold, but very beautiful with the B final. Full of some spectacular athletes. The great thing about this sport, disappointing for the athletes, of course, that you may not end up in the A final because of the quotas, but spectacular viewing for us, for the viewers, to see so many super talented athletes all throughout the racing morning and the racing day on the mixed relay. Some of the best in both finals. We are waiting for flower ceremony, which will happen very shortly. And but in the meantime, let's have a quick look at the highlights. Interrupt those highlights and go to the flower ceremony. There we have Nicola Canclini and Giulia Morada of Italy taking their 3rd place on the flower podium.
Representing Spain, España, Ana Alonso,
Into 2nd place for the Spaniards, Ana Alonso Rodriguez and Oriol Cardona Call.
And here we are with the first place, the winner, première place,
Huge round of applause from the home crowd. The bells are ringing for the French team of Thibaut Anselmet and Emily Harrop as they come to take their rightful and well-earned place on the top step of the podium. Prize there for the winning team being presented by Regula Meyer, the president of the ISMF, re-elected this year and taking us through to the Olympics. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back in January for the European Championships in Flaine and Chamonix, 11th and 12th of January. And before you go, you can watch the highlights, but I'm off. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day and a great festive season. Bye-bye.